Thank you guys all for coming out tonight. This is such a thrill. This is literally a homecoming. I feel like I've been exhibiting my work all over the world, and there's always been a spot reserved right here in California where my story begins. That story, of course, begins studying art when I was about 11 years old. My mom wanted to basically keep us out of trouble. We went kicking and screaming, my twin brother Taiwo and I, to this summer program. It was a weekend program. The Los Angeles Conservatory of Art at Cal State Los Angeles on the weekends. And it was there that I started to kind of get the hang of this thing. Started to fall in love with the act of making stuff look like stuff. Simply the act of reproducing an object for its own purposes, but it was also the sense of being able to have mastery over something, to feel as though I mattered, to feel as though I could make my friends laugh, and it gave me a sense of purpose, of meaning. Part of that program allowed me to visit institutions in Los Angeles, and Huntington was principal amongst that. I remember walking through this place and enjoying the gardens, being blown away by the sheer spectacle of it all. Walking through these halls and seeing these really noble portraits and wondering what's up with all the powdered wigs and pearls. There was a type of arm's distance unfamiliarity about the paintings, but I think because they felt so bizarre and heirloom, it also opened up this strange breathing space where I can sort of imagine, how would I like to do that? And all these years later, this obsession with this incredibly ancient language, which is easel painting, this obsession with the dignity of it, the bombast, the pomp and circumstances surrounding all of these portraits, allowed me to understand that there is something very meaningful about dignity and the ability to craft that, the ability for an institution to say, this is what we stand for. These are the types of people and the types of stories that we want to embolden and enable for the future to consume. But also to be able to find that gap and fill it that says, where are the people who happen to look like me? That says, perhaps I can hack that language of dignity, hack that language of respectability, and turn that light towards people who happen to look like me. And I think I think tonight and moments like this are moments that we can all be proud of, moments where we can tell that there is a shift in the wind of the culture. Despite some of the setbacks we've seen in the last 8 years, there is decidedly something to be said about the gatekeepers of our culture, saying that this space is open for all of us. It's been an incredibly wonderful journey, not only to be able to find complete strangers in the streets of the world, stop them and ask them to model for me and to turn those into historic, heroic paintings. But it's also an opportunity to recognize that a moment of chance, which is what it was when I came through these doors so many years ago, can be something that we bottle, something that we look at as a mystery and a miracle, and place on a pedestal. This whole thing is about chance. This whole thing is about someone trying to get to the subway, and then the next thing you know, I'm asking them to be in a portrait. Most people say no. So what you might be looking at is a kind of cross-section of a strange subsection of peoples. This unlikely occurrence, the unlikeliness of the first African-American president of the United States choosing me as the first African-American artist to paint that portrait. that's a little bit of magic in a bottle too. That's something that we can't turn away from. And so despite any of the cultural setbacks that we might view, not only in America, but globally these days, we have to recognize that there is something in the force of art, in the force of creative energy, in the voices that I see around the world, and all of these young artists who are inspired by moments like this that give us a sense of hope and a little pep in our step. Thank you all so much.